Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Tonight, we're talking about another aspect of When Things Fall Apart from Pema Chodron's work, the Buddhist teachings of how it is that we can widen our circle of compassion. This is my favorite teaching in Buddhism, actually. It's the one that really opened my eyes in a way, because I didn't understand what compassion really was. I used it the same way everyone else does. It's like it's a one-up or a one-down. Like we're compassionate towards someone who needs help from us, someone or something that is needing some additional support, or something from us that I have, you don't. So it's sort of a one-up, one-down relationship. But in the Buddhist understanding and teaching, we're all one, and we're all on the same level, and that in fact, what you require from me, I require for myself as well. And so whatever it is that is needed by another, or any reaction I have to another, or anything else in my experience of another, is really a way in which I am responding to something about my own interior world, something about my own self, the many parts of ourselves. Pema Chodron said this: only in an open, non-judgmental space can we acknowledge what it is that we're feeling. Only in an open space where we're not all caught up in our own version of reality can we see and hear and feel who others really are, which allows us to be with them and communicate with them properly. I love this non-judgmental open space, a spaciousness of the heart. True compassion only really exists between equals. I can't really be compassionate to someone I don't feel some equality with, or some sense of partnership with, because in some way I'm separating. I'm putting myself in a one-up, one-down relationship. It's only when I can begin to feel a connection and see the full humanity and see a potential teacher in front of me that I can bring my best, and it's a way for me to also be able to share from this place inside of me, and to also welcome that part of myself into being. Compassion is really a practice. Compassionate action, as she says, is one of the most advanced practices we can have. She says there's nothing more advanced than relating with others. Isn't that the truth? Trying to find ways in which we can express ourselves to one another. This is the thing that we really work with. This is the thing that is really the hardest at times, and is the thing that challenges us the most. Pema Chodron also says that communicating to the heart and being present to others is really how it is that we listen with our hearts. Listening with our hearts, not just with our ears, or preparing our next defense or our next piece of information that we want to share, or part of our story we want to tell. It's an opportunity for us to really engage, allowing ourselves to feel our reaction to what is being said, and to be aware of it, whatever we feel, and not push it away. Accepting every part of ourselves, even the parts we don't like. Pema cites her own experience with Roshi Bernard Glassman, who's a Zen teacher who runs a project for the homeless in Yonkers, New York. When he spoke, she said, he talked about not really doing this work to help others. He does it because he feels that moving into the areas of society that he had rejected is the same as working with the parts of himself that he had rejected. In other words, these homeless parts, these homeless people represented different aspects of what he believed were also alive in himself. And it was a way for him not to judge that, or to be able to embrace it and to welcome it in the same way that he did these people. He felt he could be doing it for himself. She says, although this is ordinary Buddhist thinking, that every experience that we have is an opportunity to welcome another part of ourselves and to accept another part of ourselves, she says it's difficult to live it. No kidding, it is. It's a constant reminder and a constant struggle. To the degree that we have compassion for ourselves, she says, we will also have compassion for others. So this is a way for us to see the world as an outplay, an outpicturing of what it is that our soul has yet to learn, where we are triggered, or where we are in some sort of conflict, or where it is that we are feeling less than, or one way in which we're not feeling that this is a relationship that is working for us one way or another. It could be that we need to release it, and there's a way that we can do that gracefully, but it can also be that that experience is here to teach and to help us own a part of ourselves. She says compassion isn't some kind of self-improvement project, though, or an ideal that we're trying to live up to. We shouldn't think of it that way. Instead, think of it as an exchange, much like we just did in our meditation, an opportunity to exchange back and forth, a way in which we breathe into our hearts and feel what we feel, and don't be afraid that we're going to be wounded beyond, that we're going to be wounded in this experience, but rather feel what we feel and be aware of it, and breathe into the pain, or breathe into the fear, or breathe into the anger or the frustration. Breathe into it while we try to stay present to the moment. It's a practice, a spaciousness of the heart. It's a way in which we are unattached. One way in which we often want to separate ourselves, and the way in which we protect the soft spots of our heart, which often are masking a deeper wound, something from our past, is that we blame or that we defend. Blaming is a way in which we divert the attention away from the thing that is hurting us now. And in the moment, we try to make someone else responsible, or some set of conditions responsible, or something else that's wrong here. And when we do that, we're blaming and pushing it away. When we do that, we're really not being present. We're trying to mask the opportunity that is before us to heal a part of something old, something deep, and something painful. Because every time we experience a discomfort, we scramble to see what to blame or what to cover it up with. Pema Chodron says, blaming is a way to protect our hearts, to protect what is soft and open and tender in ourselves. That's really where the opportunity is. And yet, what our action is to divert attention away. It's to divert our focus into blame and into anger and into protection. When in fact, what really needs to happen is to allow ourselves to feel and to learn and to know and to experience what is really going on here. To feel. And one practice that she recommends is to, in the moment that we wish to blame, try on what you imagine. If I blame right now, What does blaming feel like? How is rejection or blaming or separation, rejection, feeling right now? How does that feel in my heart? Is this a place I want to be? Is this what I want to do right now? You know, I've done that. Like, I react and I want to, well, but it's this, but it's that, but it's not that. And in the instant that it comes out of my mouth, I instantly know this isn't what I want to create. It's like with practice and with awareness, the more we do it, the more we can begin to see, this isn't what I want to create. I don't want to push it away. I don't want to blame. I don't want to stay stuck here. What am I waiting for? Vindication? Am I waiting for a cape on my shoulders to, yes, Karen, that was right. That was the thing. It's like, no, what I really want is relationship. What I want to know is I want to learn. What is it that hurts? What is it I'm afraid of? What is wrong, or what am I afraid might be wrong in me? We finally learn that when we stop blaming, that we touch that tender, soft spot within us. Pema Chodron says, when we stop long enough to give ourselves that open space in which to feel our soft spot, it's as if we're reaching down to touch that larger wound that lies right beneath the protective shell that blaming builds. Because what we do is we keep holding ourselves separate from the world, from one another, from opportunity to actually heal, and we allow this to go on, to continue to fester, to continue to be a weakness, a blind spot in a way. This pain is the thing that we keep thinking is wrong. I'm not supposed to be in pain. Someone isn't supposed to hurt me. They hurt me. And when they hurt me and activate an old wound, it's on them. But in fact, it isn't. It's my opportunity to feel something. What is pain? I love what Khalil Gibran writes in his book, The Prophet, on pain. And a woman spoke, saying, "Tell us of pain." And he said, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. And you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. And the cup he brings, though it burn your lips, has been fashioned of the clay, which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears. It's for you. It is for me. It isn't to be brushed away or defended or forgotten or blamed or pushed away. To allow anger to hold us back, to allow blame or rejection to form the shell over our soft spot to protect. It is meant to be felt, and in the feeling and in the moment to be healed. We also defend. It isn't just our brokenness, it often is our belief system. There's often something that we hold on to, that we believe, and that we wish we really want to see this thing survive. We believe in this. We want it to be right. We want it to be right forever. And the truth is, things change. and they start to fall apart. And sometimes we see that things aren't right. That's not the way it really is supposed to be, but this is my favorite belief. This is what I love. This is who I love. I want to believe in this person. I want them to be perfect all the time. And so I defend that, or I defend them. And instead, I've refused to see what isn't quite right, what needs to be shifted or changed, something that needs to be brought up, something that we need to discuss, something that needs to be handled between us. When something we identify with is wrong, we feel that maybe we're wrong or bad or a failure. And so we don't want to face that. We want to keep everything the way it was. Blaming ourselves as wrong can also happen. Our world becomes smaller and uglier, even dark and hopeless. That's where our blame will go eventually, if we're not careful. Pema says, wanting situations and relationships to be solid, permanent, and graspable obscures the pith of the matter, she says, which is that things are fundamentally groundless. They're always changing. We can't expect things to stay or people to stay just as they are. We don't stay just as we are. It wouldn't be in our best interest, even if we could. She says, could our minds and our hearts be big enough instead to just hang out in that space where we're not entirely certain about who's right and who's wrong? What if instead we found that place of uncertainty and openness, a willingness to listen and to feel, and not to judge, right or wrong, good or bad, in this moment? What if it just is? What if I just am? What if how I feel is just okay? What if you are? Rumi said it this way, out beyond rightness and wrongness, there's a field. I'll meet you there. I would go there with him, wouldn't you? Pema Chodron says, we could just contemplate the fact that there's a larger alternative to either right or wrong, a more tender, shaky kind of place where we could live. And if we do the work, here's what she promises. She says our ancient habitual patterns will begin to soften, and we'll begin to see the faces and hear the words of people who are talking to us in real time. If we begin to get in touch with whatever we feel, with some kind of kindness, our protective shells will melt. And we'll find that more areas of our lives are workable. As we learn to have compassion for ourselves, the circle of compassion for others, what and whom we can work with, and how, become wider and wider and wider. And that's the promise. Namaste.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.